Good morning, everyone. It's another beautiful day. We had an interesting conversation with my grandson. He watched something, and I guess drugs came up or something. I'm not sure. And so he comes and said, "Grozy, what about illegal drugs? What is that?" So I told him. And I also told him, so don't even, not even the first, anybody says, "Oh, hey, just try, I just want," say no. And those are not your friends. Absolutely not. Not everyone's personality is the same. And it is already. It's been proven. I've seen that myself. Some people just are more addicted to certain things or get more easily addicted than others. It's just the way it is. And the best thing is just say absolutely no to all of that. Sadly, in my own life, not me, but some people in the past, mainly, even when they sober up, which is a great thing, it's difficult to understand on how their chemistry in their brain works now, and that's the sad thing. So yeah, as a grandma now and as a parent as well, I did tell my children no, absolutely no. You need to say no. Dare to say no. And be done with it. It will destroy young people's plans that they had for the future, for what they really love doing. It all just goes down the drain. It's very sad. And so anyway, drugs. Ugh. Yeah. And there's no balance there. I don't believe there's a balance there. And again, like marijuana, for example, it's an amazing healing plant if it's used properly, not as a recreational drug. And because it has such a bad rap now, right? Yes, even though, for example, for seizures in children and adults, they can pull a property out of that plant that is amazingly helpful, and it's not the hallucinatory part of the drug. So anyway, sadly, so many good things that are out there that God has put into place for us to use correctly, appropriately, or just gets abused. And anyway, who the heck wants to walk around their whole life more or less high? I'm not getting that. Just don't understand that. Well, anyway, coping. Oh, it's coping with what? Exactly. Well, anyway, just causes more problems. So, had a good conversation with them. Yes. Yeah. No. If they ask, I try to do my best. Had a great day at the library yesterday, I have to say. All the children really behaved really great. Had a fun time. The boys ended up in the section, the nonfiction section, and got books about sharks and baseball, and they found some comics, old ones, and what else? We came home with 2 huge bags of books. That's all I can say. Oh, and both of the boys, we were talking about pies. I said, "Oh, we're going to make a pie." "I don't like pie." I said, "You don't like pie?" I said, "I guess you never had a chocolate pie." "Chocolate pie? What? Oh, aha." I said, "So you don't like certain pies?" "I don't either, but that doesn't mean I don't like pies." Anyway, so we found that this library has And there's a whole cookbook about pies. It's like a little kit, and then it has a pie shell. Yeah, it has that in it too. And so we're going to make some pies. Then there's a couple of games we also took home with us. It's a great library for many different things. Anyway, had a great time. Story time was about dragons. Yes, yeah. Good to know. They still know. Okay. Great library. Had a great time. Spent there almost 3 hours. And came home. We were tuckered out from just being at the library. Okay, so we are in, let's get going here. Judith, the book of Judith started out, and it looks like it keeps right on going. So what? The women were instrumental in the Old Testament to do what? Stop wars? Or, well, anyway, let's find out. Not quite what I had in mind or thought of when, okay, I never read the book of Judith, honestly. All right, so here we are, the book of Judith 2, the campaign in the West. In the 18th year, on the 22nd day of the first month, my goodness, look at that, exact time. A rumor, we got a dated rumor here. Wow, how exact. A rumor ran through the palace that Nebuchadnezzar, king of the Assyrians, was to have his revenge on all the countries as he had threatened. Summoning his general staff and senior officers, he held a secret conference with them. Wow. And with his own lips, but if the rumor ran through it, I guess it wasn't a secret anymore. Oh, that's why there are rumors. Okay. And with his own lips pronounced utter destruction on the entire area. It was then decreed that everyone should be put to death who had not answered the king's appeal. When the council was over, Nebuchadnezzar, king of the Assyrians, sent for Holofernes, general-in-chief of his armies and subordinate only to himself. He said to him, "Thus speaks the great king, lord of the whole world. Woohoo! Go, take men of proven valor, about 120,000 foot soldiers, and a strong company of horse with 12,000 cavalrymen, then advance against all the western lands, since these people have disregarded my call. Bid them have earth and water ready, because in my rage I am about to march on them. The feet of my soldiers will cover the whole face of the earth, and I shall plunder it." Their wounded will fill the valleys, and the torrents and rivers, blocked with their dead, will overflow. I shall lead them captive to the ends of the earth. Now go, begin by conquering this whole region for me. If they surrender to you, hold them for me until the time comes to punish them. But if they resist, look on no one with clemency, hand them over to slaughter and plunder throughout the territory entrusted to you. How can one guy do all this? That's why one doesn't have kings and people in power like that. Hey, yeah, God. Yeah. For by my life and by the living power of my kingdom I have spoken. All this I shall do by my power, and you neglect none of your master's commands. Act strictly according to my orders without further delay. Interesting. So we talked about drugs this morning. I think war for some people is a drug too. They just can't have peace. It's not possible. The need for more and more and more, right? Yeah? That's a drug. That's like a drug running through someone's, Nebuchadnezzar, obviously, right? That ran like a drug through his system. And then the emotions that governed him. He thinks he has so much power, yet what's he doing? Has fallen prey to something that's so destructive, his own self, his own emotions, his own anger and revenge, because what? People say, well, we're not doing that. Right? Leaving the presence of his sovereign, Holofernes immediately summoned all the marshals, generals, and officers of the Assyrian army and detailed the picked troops as his master had ordered, about 120,000 men and a further 12,000 mounted archers. He organized these in a normal battle formation. What was that? A normal battle formation? He then secured vast numbers of camels, donkeys, and mules to carry the baggage, and innumerable sheep, oxen, and goats for food and supplies. Where did they get that? From the people? Every man received full rations and a generous sum of gold and silver from the king's purse. He then set out for the campaign with his whole army in advance of King Nebuchadnezzar to overwhelm the whole western region with his chariots, his horsemen, and his picked body of foot. A motley gathering followed in his rear, as numerous as locusts or the grains of sand on the ground. There was no counting their multitude. And again, this war was started, created, planned because of what exactly? The stages of Holofernes' advance. Thus they set out from Nineveh and marched for 3 days towards the plain of Bechtilet. From Bechtilet they went on to pitch camp near the mountains that lie to the north of Upper Cilicia. From there Holofernes advanced into the highlands with his whole army, infantry, horsemen, chariots. He cut his way through Put and Lud, carried away captive all the sons of Rasis and sons of Ishmael living on the verge of the desert south of Kelion. Marched along the Euphrates, crossed Mesopotamia, razed all the fortified towns, controlling the Wadi Abron, and reached the sea. Erased, I guess. Next, he attacked the territories of Cilicia, butchering all who offered him resistance, advanced on the southern frontiers of Japheth, facing Arabia. Completely encircled the Midianites, burnt their tents and plundered their sheepfolds, made his way down to the Damascus plain at the time of the wheat harvest, set fire to the fields, destroyed the flocks and herds, sacked the towns, laid the countryside waste, and put all the young men to the sword. Fear and trembling seized all the coastal peoples, those of Sidon and Tyre, those of Sor, Osina, and Yamnia. The populations of Asotos and Ascalon were panic-stricken. That's the end of 2. Well. All right, that's number 2 in Judith. No idea why this is in here, but it is. It must have some significance. No idea what. Can't remember. Oh. Yeah. So peaceful here. And this number 2, right, Judith, is so detailed. You can almost feel the terror this army brought to everyone. And again, who said no to this Assyrian king? Was it the common people that, no, everything got destroyed? Yeah, it didn't make a difference. Oh, wait a minute. These are just the common people. We're going to leave them alone. We're going to go after the ones that actually said no, right? Who are those? The leaders, right? Yes? Of these places. But I guarantee you that, yeah, okay, maybe they come across some of them eventually, but they're all hiding. They're all hiding with their families, this and that, probably just themselves. They didn't care much about the women and kids at that time, it seems like. And their game of risk is affecting whom, actually? So weird. It's just because of one man's displeasure over having been rejected. Must have been a terrible time for the people. I'm amazed that anybody survived. Right? Yes? Anyway, I don't know. I know that any kind of post, this and that I see with soldiers and given their lives and of course fought for freedom, this and that, I just feel sad. I don't want to glorify that in any way. I really don't. I find it sad. I find it sad that at this time we still haven't figured out just living peacefully together and deal with the one or other, like a King Nebuchadnezzar. Well, you're way out of line, buddy. We're going to have to put you away for a while until you, I don't know, come off the drugs you're on or your mental disability. You can't just go out there and think you're going to be, who now? King of the world, huh? Yeah, of everything. That's just, what? Again? Come again? For what reason? Well, anyway, so to me it's just sad. It's sad that there seems to be a necessity even today to have to put people back into their place with fighting against them, right? Because one gets attacked. that is necessary. I think that if one is on the side of goodness when it comes to all that, to look at that as a very, very sad circumstance. Not something to glorify, not something to lift other people up. It's not something where, no, it's just sad. It's a sad circumstance that we still have to have soldiers, that they still have to give their lives, that they still get maimed and get so messed up. Yeah, that's what happens, messed up in their heads. So many soldiers also get hooked on drugs, just to be able to cope. It should tell us this is not. Don't glorify it, please. Not talking down on soldiers, that's not it. It's sad. It is really, really sad that we haven't gotten any further in our existence than to still, it's one thing if you have to defend yourself against wildlife. Well, So best thing is prayer. Yes. Here is a king. He wants to rule the whole world. Whatever. Like Yertle the Turtle, as far as he can see. Right? Yeah, you ever heard the story of Yertle the Turtle by Dr. Seuss? It's a good story. One man can create so much destruction just because of one thing, one emotion. He was rejected. Right? To wanting to do this with even more people, to other people. Yes? He said, no, we're not doing that. The consequences for them were terrible. Sounds like it. I believe that if the common people all around the world would just stick together and start saying no, all of them, then these leaders that are so gung-ho, like King Nebuchadnezzar, then they wouldn't be able to do what they're doing. It's only possible because they have so many foot soldiers, people willing. Well, anyway. So there it is. My goodness, I don't know where that book of Judith is going. I think I'll just reread Tobit again. We'll see where it goes. It would be one thing to reading these stories, yeah, and looking at the world today and go, well, that was then. Thank God we have figured it out, but we haven't, have we? We have not. The graveyards, the soldiers' graveyards that we have here as well are not shrinking. They're still growing. I believe in a strong defense. I really do. I believe that when other countries who are more like King Nebuchadnezzar just want to take over territory because they can and want to make their kingdoms bigger, that you're a strong force that hasn't even done anything yet. But no, no, we're going to lose that one. I believe in that. I believe to have a strong defense where you don't even have to start a war, which was one of the directions that kind of was given to some of the Israelites, some of the kings that were prepared. We're not going to go and start anything, but we're going to be ready. We're going to let people know we're ready at all times. Makes a difference, yes, when you have good protection around, when you're strong. What about the drugs? You grow up a healthy human being with parents that will say, let me show you what happens when you do that. Yes. And the thing is, who doesn't have one or two family members, extended, that one has supported, tried to encourage, tolerated, who were on drugs, and the nonsense they talk about, the ideas that they have, all for everyone else. You're supposed to be like this and that, and I don't know what. They never take a look at themselves, never see their own faults. No, that's how they get. That's where they get to. And Even when, as I said, even when they clean up, go through rehab, this, that, it's never the same with them again, ever. I've not seen it. Could be proven wrong someday. Yes, and it's still the same as when they were on drugs. You just take it. You just tolerate it because you love them, regardless. Yes. Well, anyway. Alright, I gotta get into that now. It's amazing to me that we have all these different things in schools now that, obviously the majority of the people keep that in your bedroom. That's not for children. Done. All that nonsense that, we've not catered to children in that way yet. Oh, if we cater to children in certain ways, especially in the sexual realm, then we can take advantage of them too. While they're still children, I'm just saying that don't, again, it's, what? No. Why aren't they teaching children from little on about drugs and what that does to them? Illegal drugs. And what that does to them. Huh? As much as that other stuff now. Okay? Might save a few lives. Huh? Might get the next generations away from all of that stuff. And bring the Bible, bring God back into the schools and teach them to, here, have this as your drug, okay? Well, don't get out of hand with it either. Some people get too. We don't coerce, we don't force faith, okay? It's something that grows like a plant. It takes time and stability. No. Most people on the side of goodness are like me. I know that. You try not to hurt someone's feelings. You try not to aggravate a situation where then you have to, okay, if I do have this type of conversation with someone like that, not a child, an adult, I'm going to have to worry that they sink even deeper into some kind of an abyss and do self-harm to them. And then you feel responsible. So you try to be careful on how you handle them, right? Like a glass or a porcelain vase that's very valuable. Yes. But I found too that sometimes you have to just be brutally honest and say, why are you doing this to everyone around you right now? You really think you're so right about all that? Huh? And it's sad, just like with war, that it has to get to that point. Yes. Well, anyway, hopefully, right? Hopefully, with our next generations, and if you go and read up a little bit on how the drugs just kind of started to take, recreational drugs started to take over, and in so many countries. And it's not been such a long time that's all been happening. And drugs been always around for, but in small doses, in small pockets, not as it is now. And how that all started is interesting to study that up. And I hope that this trend of taking care of your problems, or to just get into it as a teenager, because it's what everybody does it. Oh, you want to stay friends with? Really? Then friends are overrated, in my opinion. I'm hoping that slowly, that the next generations look at this and go, man, I want to walk through life like that. There are so many amazing things one can do with one's life and the talents and gifts given by heaven. And I feel that I've seen it every time. People at a young age start doing certain things, hang out with certain people. Yeah, certain people. Sadly, many of them are my age. They can just about take all their dreams and flush them down the toilet. That's where they're going. Oftentimes with the first joint they smoke. And that's another. So sad. So sad to see that. I'm glad my grandson feels he can come talk to me. I'm sure he talks to his parents too. And I'm very direct with him when it comes to that. And I don't lie about it either. He asked me, he said, so Rosie, did you ever do it? I said, yeah, when I was a teenager. But I got away from it pretty quickly because it wasn't for me. And I was smart enough to look around me and go, man, these people are pretty messed up. I don't want to be messed up like that. So I walked through that hell, but I came out on the other side with my brain still intact. Well, anywho, so there it is. Don't be afraid to talk to your children about it, especially when they come and ask you because they heard something, right? Saw something. And because the more they know, by the time they hit the teenage age, the better they are prepared as well. Yes? And be the example with your children. I'll tell you a little example we had yesterday. Children have so much these days. They don't realize it all costs money, right? Yes, I grew up with so much less. And in a way I knew that. That's why I ended up fixing my own clothes around for the next trend, this and that. Okay, just saying. We didn't just open the fridge and take food out, which these children here don't do either. Right? There's always one drink available here, and that is water. Yes? But otherwise, one doesn't just go and get the orange juice out, this and that. Not even I do that. We have water to drink. There's no pop here or anything. There's no juice otherwise. As I said, little orange juice. They have these little pouches that they, when they go on their games, soccer or something like that, where it's easier, just a little treat. And that box has been for a month in the fridge now. And we took some to the library yesterday. So they get one box, every 2 months, of how much is there in the 12 of them? And that lasts them here for 4 kids for 2 months because we make it a special thing. Otherwise, there's always water available. Yes? Yeah. They're always allowed to take an apple or a banana if they want to. Yes? There. So yesterday, we got home from the library and everybody was pretty tired. I mean, not like they were running around in a library, they're not allowed, but it was pretty, there were a lot of people around, and the little one ended up finding a friend to play with, and so they played. They have a little play section there, and the boys were busy, on the computers, and then they were busy around the books, and then they were busy on the computers again, so they're talking, so there was a lot going on. We get home, we're kind of tired. And the little one and I, my younger granddaughter, we started painting. She has some squishies that she had painted, but the little funky said, hey, would you like to make them look really nice? She says, yeah. So we got all the acrylic paint out, this and that, and she wore this beautiful new dress. And I thought about, oh, she needs to change her dress. Then I forgot all of it. It didn't even come to my mind anymore. I was like, we're a little tired. I was tired, and the night before, didn't sleep a whole lot. Forgot about it. In the evening, my daughter comes down. She says, Mom, a couple of things. I'm going, ooh, who's in trouble? Me? She said, why did you let her wear that dress, beautiful dress, while you guys were painting? She's got some paint on it. I'm going, ugh. I said, oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot. I remembered that, and then I forgot. And she's like, it's okay, Mom. Just reminding you. I said, don't wash it. Okay, let me first work on it. It's just, I already did, and it looks like most of it is coming out, and some of it may be food stains, so I'm not sure yet. Anyway, so it's okay. She's just, Mom, I'm just letting you know, please. I'm going, okay, she really just bought that dress. And another thing, the remote to one of the TVs isn't working, and it has teeth marks on it. I'm going, what? Well, no, dog didn't have that. No, my grandson was, while he's watching, chewing on it. What? And it's not working anymore. And so she said, yeah, and I'm thinking, we looked up, so I took them aside and said, let's look up and how much they cost. And they were between $10 and $20. She says, I think we're going to get the $20 one, and since you have the money to pay for it, we're going to have you pay for it. And he says, but there are $10 ones, let's just get that. She said, yeah, that would be a downgrade, and that's not what we have. So he's all like, oh, okay. So it turns out it's okay. The teeth marks are on it, but it's a remote you have to charge. Never heard of that before. So the remote is working. But I went up this morning, and he came down and said, hey, Ben, let's go up. I said, Rosie has to also take responsibility here. So we both went up, right? And I said, here is the money for the dress, right? And Ben's going to pay for the remote as well. And we're both together, we're going to take care of what we messed up, right? It turns out the paint all came out just fine, so I saved my money, but got a lesson. And the remote just needed to be charged, and it's still working too. So we're both looking at you, whew, wow, okay, that went well, right? Yes, but we were both willing together. I wanted to show him, me too, and I messed him. He's, of course, you did what? I said, yeah, I didn't tell Abby. Abby's still just so young, and my granddaughter's still so young. So, and he's like, oh yeah, so we have to help each other out. Make sure that I make sure you don't chew on the remote, and you help me make sure that I'm not painting with her in her best clothes. He says, yeah, let's do that. So, yeah, see, we can talk at a child all day long, right? Yes? And he didn't know about the dress or anything, but it was a good learning experience for him to see that me too, as an adult, I still have to want to be responsible when I mess something up, right? These were little things, not a big deal, right? Anyway, so, but we got to keep our money because, and we're going to help, right? And I talked to all the children, I'm going to have to help him not chew on that. So we're going to have to pay attention. Best thing, you don't get the remote after you chose whatever to watch. Anywho, so that's kind of what you can do together with your children. So it's not just the children going, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. It doesn't happen as an adult. Yes, it does. And when you do it together, again, it doesn't become such a devastating kind of thing for a child. But I didn't do it on purpose. Yeah, that's like, no, I didn't do it on purpose. Yeah, I get that, but you did it anyway. You did it. So regardless if it's an accident, a mistake, yeah, or on purpose, we have to be responsible for take care of. Yes. Anyway, so there it is. That's things come up. Don't lie to your children. Don't do things. Don't, what's it? Don't do as I say, not as I do. That's a bad example to children. A really bad example. And when there are some things that as an adult you can legally do, but as a child not, then explain it properly to them. Anywho, there it is on why that is. That's it. That's all I have to share this morning. Oh, this went a lot longer than I thought. Well, I hope Judith will get better than this. I guess I have to have the preface for why Judith was needed. We'll find out for what. All right, may Heavenly Parent bless and protect you and embrace you with love. And I will talk to you all tomorrow.